My daughter made me pay for her entire wedding and then banned me from entering it. And now that the ceremony is over, she demands that I pay for her honeymoon in the Caribbean. My daughter and I were never very close. Not because I didn't try, but because her mother and I were separated. Since she cheated on me, and she simply wouldn't let me see the child. I had to sue her several times to gain the right to see the child at least twice a week, which was finally granted. And I thought I could finally develop a relationship with her. But every time we went out, I clearly noticed that she was uncomfortable. Occasionally she was having a great time and seemed comfortable, but suddenly she would just stop and return to this weird behavior. I asked her mother why she was doing this, and she said that she probably just didn't like me, which was clearly a lie, since she had no reason for that and clearly enjoyed herself when she was distracted, only becoming strange again when she thought of something. Of course, her mother was telling her some lie about me, but I couldn't prove it. And just when I was finally able to talk calmly with her, and when I thought she would open up more to me and tell me what her mother was saying, her mother simply took her to her home country, and basically our contact ended there. Of course, I tried to contact the authorities because this was obviously illegal, but they couldn't do anything since in her country, it wouldn't technically be illegal. So, yes, I spent many years without contacting my daughter for a long time. This led me to a depressive episode where I couldn't even get out of bed and just thought about how I was missing the essential years of her life, and how maybe she wouldn't even remember me when she was an adult. Eventually, I had to return to normal life and try to forget about it, hoping to see her one day. And indeed it happened, but it wasn't as I expected. Last year, my daughter finally contacted me and asked to meet me at a cafe near my house. For me, it was a very emotional moment. I cried a lot, hugged her, tried to ask about her life, but she seemed incredibly uninterested. She didn't talk about her life and just said that she was getting married and would marry here because she wanted to move here, but didn't have enough money to hold the ceremony and asked for my help with that. I said I would obviously help and she could count on me for everything. I said this thinking that it might help me reconnect with her, but I didn't expect her to simply dump the entire wedding bill on me as I had to pay absolutely everything. But I didn't complain and considered that as long as we could reconnect, it was worth it. On the day of the wedding, I was already prepared to walk. Part 2. My daughter made me pay for her entire wedding and then banned me from entering it. And now that the ceremony is over, she demands that I pay for her honeymoon in the Caribbean. I was already prepared to walk her down the aisle, was prepared to talk to her and the guy she was going to marry and get to know him, etc. I saw her mother entering ahead of me at the ceremony and I was afraid to enter, but I judged that my daughter's happiness was more important, so I went to the entrance. However, to my surprise, the security guards didn't let me in. I explained the situation and explained that I was the bride's father, and they said they knew, and that she specifically instructed not to let me in. I tried to ask her the reason for all this, and of course she didn't answer me. I sent messages for several days until she finally blocked me. I didn't understand why this was happening. I paid everything for her without a second thought, always treated her the best I could, made sure to fight to see her, and she did this to me. And then I realized that I had simply been used. But besides that, 1 week later, she had the audacity to call me again. I didn't want to answer. I knew nothing good would come of it. But still I answered hopefully that maybe it was an apology from her. But of course it wasn't just not an apology. She was also demanding that I give her more money for her honeymoon in the Caribbean and mentioned a sky-high value that was practically the value of another wedding. I told her that she didn't even let me go to the wedding, and now she was demanding even more money from me. Then she said it didn't matter, that she never said she would let me go to the wedding, and that I should be happy that she even let me contribute anything to it. At that moment, I hung up the call and called my lawyer. I paid for the wedding by putting money into a deposit where the installments would be charged from there, and I put the full amount into the deposit. I did this because I didn't want to pay everything up front in case of an emergency, and now I see that this was the best decision of my life. The charges are still in my daughter's name, so I decided to just take all the money out of the deposit. So in the next installment, the debt collectors will see that they are not getting anything and will start charging my daughter again. Honestly, I don't know how she's going to pay this, considering she doesn't even have a job here, but at this point, I don't care. I could forgive her for treating me like this when she was a child and I thought she was being manipulated by her mother. But now she's an adult and she knows what she's doing and still decided to treat me like this. She hasn't found out about any of this yet and is still asking me for money. So I know her reaction when she finds out that I won't pay for the wedding anymore will be horrible. But honestly, I don't care. Do you think I did the right thing?